Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening. I've known today's guest for many, many years. In fact, our friendship goes all the way back to high school. From then until now, we both have gone through several evolutions of ourselves, driven by life events, but also driven by a passion for creating content. Julio Padilla, aka Greenites, is a musician from the Central Coast of California with a take on reggae music that has led him to a level of creative awareness that's resulted in a unique sound and blend of the popular genre. Today we are talking about Greenites' music and creative process, and also what it takes to get inspired. But we'll reminisce about some adventures when we were younger and dumber, of course. So buckle up and enjoy this ride because it'll be a good one, especially if you're the creative type. Let's go. This is probably the first time in a long time that I kind of pick up the podcasting again. But I wanted to do it with you because you just not only did you come all the way out here, but you're also doing a bunch of interesting stuff like music, for example. But what's the name of your album?
So the album is called Greenites meets Riffs the Cat in Aslan Ites. I know a lot of ites in there, you know.
Yeah. So what does ites mean?
Ites is like the highest ites, you know, Irie-ites. Also like Israelites, you know, but ites is like ites, you know, like the highest one with the Most High, with Jah, with God and all that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good then. It's very fitting then for the album. And then this album just came out too. This is what, your third?
So this is my first ever album, and I released an EP. I started out by releasing an EP like as a professional release or whatever, you know, like my own label, independent label, you know. And then I released a single a couple of months ago, and now with this is the third one, the third like release that I've done.
Excellent. Well, how does it feel to have 3 released, and do any perks come with having at least 3?
So that was the one thing, so I could get like a YouTube artist channel. It said right there, the company that I used, that I needed to have 3 releases. But it's not really about that, you know. It's not really about the perks. It just happened to be my third one. I've done another project too. Like I did one with my friend Isaac Tooley. He's a really good singer too. He sings with Digital Ute, you know, the Samoans, all the Samoans, Pacific Islanders, Tongans. Those guys, I've jammed out with some of them too.
And how did you even start? Like, where did you find these guys, and how did you kind of get involved in doing some collaboration work with them?
Well, one guy he became my friend. Actually, we met in a bus stop one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "Hey, do you like reggae?" I'm like, "Yeah, man," and we were talking about reggae and stuff. And his name's Micah Blue, Tagalu. I call him Palomalu because he kind of looks like the football player Troy Palomalu, you know, with the hair.
Yeah.
So his nickname I gave him was Palomalu, but it's Micah Blue. And I jammed with him. He was a member back when I had a band. Mm-hmm. He used to jam with us, and he used to sing. He's a really good singer too. So I recorded a song with him on my first EP.
Yeah.
And then he introduced me to Isaac Tooley, and he's more like, you know, way more known than me. I'm not really known at all. But Isaac Tooley, he's really good, man. And he was really cool to do a song he did a song with me, and we put that out there. And that one really, people really dug that one, you know.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Well, and then with this new album that just came out on Apple Store, or is it iTunes Store?
It's on all the digital outlets, you know.
Nice.
On all the, you know, Spotify and iTunes or Apple Music, all those, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you in there do collaboration work also with somebody else. But who is that person that's you know, featured in the album with you? So
the album is called Meets Riffs the Cat in Aslan Ites, and Riffs the Cat is my brother Andres, you know, but he goes by Riffs the Cat, you know. That's his artist name is Riffs the Cat, and so I wanted to put his name on the album, you know, on the name of the album, because he's the one that sang most of the songs. You know, the first 5 songs in the album, he sang them.
They hold me back, they attack. It's not about me, it's not
I produced the music, I did all the music, and I wrote the lyrics, but he was down to sing my songs because I'm not really like a singer style. That's not really me. I'm more like a DJ style, like a DJ rapping style, I guess.
But there is a song in there that you sing by yourself, right? It's called Social Media.
Toxic Social Media, yeah.
While I'm dining on the Ita, I need more Ita, I need more Ita. Ita spirulina, mix it up in a blender.
What made you want to write a song about social media? And I mean, other than social media,
it's funny, and the song is like available on social media, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's not I guess it's not really like a thing to call out other people or like point out, because I know. Like, for example, this podcast, you could find this on social media. You're using your social media for good things, promoting your Oscar Unplugged, these really cool episodes that I've been watching, by the way, of your Unplugged, like your camping trip, and then your other episodes of the Hangry Mexican Podcast. Yeah. So like, you use social media for good things and stuff. And so for me, I noticed that it was making me a little bit different. Like, I was becoming a zombie. And I noticed these effects, and I saw documentaries on it too, and I kind of thought, maybe this is a bunch of BS,
Yeah.
But then I looked into it, and then I saw my own behavior, and I felt like I was too dependent on that. I gotta post this, I gotta post that about this. I'm doing this music thing, and then I kind of had to do an ego check on myself, and not really. I'm like, why am I doing this music stuff? It shouldn't be to be like conceited or like to boast or brag or advertise myself. If I'm doing it for like to praise God, praise Jah, then it shouldn't be about boasting for me. And so for me, I feel like leaving social media was the right choice. And I wrote what it could do, how I see these people with, fake apps and filters, and it kind of creates this false illusion of reality where all these people, not you necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like, you see people are really stuck to their phone now. Everybody's communicating to their phone, And one thing that I've noticed is without it, I feel like I'm actually socializing more now. Like, I'm growing into a better person without it. And for me, that's what the song's about. It's like a personal song.
Yeah.
I talk about the stuff that I do. Like, I talk about my my protein shake with the spirulina and Ital food. Ital is like vegan food kind of style, and not something that I do 100% all the time. But when I follow that more, it's better for my health, So that's kind of what the song.
That's really cool that you're kind of, it's like an autobiography essentially, but it's cool that, to me at least, to hear that your lifestyle or the way you live your life inspires, I guess, the music that you produce. And you've been producing for a while now. How many years is it now?
So I started playing, I think around 2007, and then my first recordings were like around 2014, 2015. Nothing that I actually published, like independent record. Like, it was just stuff for like SoundCloud or whatever, like little beats here and there. So I've been doing it for a while. I've been with the reggae for a while, reggae music.
Mm-hmm. What is it about reggae that attracted you to it to begin with? And were you always a reggae fan, or was there any other genres of music that you started out with growing up?
Well, for me, I guess it's a little bit different, because I know a lot of people that grew up in high school, they've discovered Bob Marley or Sublime or somebody like that was kind of popular. Yeah. And for me, the thing that's different is I grew up on it. I was raised on it. I mean, when I was 4 years old, when I was 4 years old, my dad took us to a concert, took me to a concert, actually, I should say, not us, but took me to a concert. I didn't go like with my brother or anything. He took me to a couple of concerts, and that was a big life-changing thing, because I'd never seen that. And to see them with dreadlocks like that, they look like big superheroes to me.
Yeah.
And I would always watch Bob Marley live at the Santa Barbara Bowl from when I was a little kid. So reggae's always been there for me. Reggae is not a foreign thing. The Jamaican accent, that is not really a foreign sound to me. That's like my home sound. When other kids, maybe other people that I know grew up with like more Mexican music, that kind of music.
With reggae and with the music you produce, obviously, like we mentioned earlier, your lifestyle influences a lot of what you produce.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned earlier about being a vegan. So I know you've since high school.
Yeah.
I remember when we used to pig out on burgers. I think I would stuff my face with 2 burgers at a time. I remember a time when I could eat like up to 4 burgers. Maybe, I don't know. I was just a
4,
little pig.
I'll do you 5 burger. No, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today is what you would tell me back then. No, but yeah, we used to pick out on those Mr. Pancho burritos over there by Milpas.
Yeah, no, that was nuts. Super Cucas with those big nachos, and for anybody, for those just listening to it, so we're talking about Super Cucas real quick here. Now, they're not sponsoring me. They're not paying me. I just really, I just like that I just like their food. It's just great tasting.
Now I want to go eat some.
Yeah.
I know they don't really have the vegan stuff, but hey, I eat fish here and there. So, that's what, the shrimp burritos.
Yeah. Actually, that's the one thing they do have. Shrimp burritos, but they're just so huge. And so anyway, I remember when we just used to eat all this stuff, right? And then now, while I'm still eating all that stuff, you've gone vegan on me. So what kind of motivated you to become vegan or just kind of just get away from food and start eating not only healthier but non-meat or animal products?
Well, for me, I don't really say always like, oh, I'm vegan this, because like I told you, like I'll eat cheese still, once in a while. I'll eat shrimp, but I will go through periods where it's like mostly vegan, like my lunch at work is mostly, there's no meat in there, it's just fruits, vegetables, nuts, and stuff like that. Yeah. And part of that is being Ital. It's kind of like the Rasta way. They do that, they practice that, but they do it way more strict, like the ones that come from the tribes or whatever. They are more strict than like I am on that. And I try to follow that. And I know there's certain things that you might miss when you're going vegan, so I try to supplement with those things, with vegan supplements too, like B12 vitamin,
Were you gonna say Viagra?
But I think the natural herbs do that for you, the maca root. If anybody suffers from that, take that maca root.
Yeah,
that's good for you right there.
Yeah,
in that area too,
Before I interrupted you with
your Viagra.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I accidentally took Viagra one time. My uncle's Viagra.
How did that happen?
Well, he left it right there and I accidentally took it, and I choked on it because I realized what I had just taken.
Oh no!
I choked on it and I had like a stiff neck for 4 hours.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to throw in that stupid joke right there.
Oh man. No, but just going back to the food in general and what you eat. Talk a little bit more about those supplements you use to substitute for like meat products, for example. What substitute out there can give you the same effect as eating meat?
Well, I take zinc, vitamin, magnesium. Like I told you, the maca root, beetroot, spirulina, B12, all these things. You could take those and then eat too, like eat beans, lentils, eat stuff like that. I eat my oatmeal, So I try to put those things in my body, put good things in my body,
Yeah.
It's good to have, like we have this, the way I see it is we have this body, so let's respect it. Let's respect our body, take care of your body. Now I know we're not going to live forever,
Yeah.
You never know when you could die, but if you practice, you take heed into good advice,
Yeah.
you'll have good energy, good vibration, good health, good spirituality, everything good, like you don't put bad things in your body. That's just the way I see it. But I don't try to push my lifestyle on anybody.
Yeah.
I don't try to tell people like, hey, you gotta, this is the way to go. Like to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then going back to your music, you do. I feel like you do all these things. I mean, you definitely work full time.
Yeah.
5 days a week. All that stuff. When is it that you find time to produce your music or also create your projects that you're working on?
Well, that's like after work I could maybe sit right there on the piano and start brainstorming an idea. If I have a day off, then I have even more time to spend. It's just in the evenings. Usually it would be after work or on a day off. I have enough time right there.
Yeah. Well, and then the interesting thing I've learned is that with how you feed your body, you're out and about doing, working full time, but then you have time for the the projects that you want to work on and your music, and you find that like time to do it and not be tired all the time. And I think I can attribute that, it seems, to the what you put in your body, what you
consume.
Exactly, because there are plenty of times when after a big fat cheeseburger stuff in my mouth, I just start drooling because I want to go to sleep. And I pass out.
And that's how most people tell me too at work. Like they'll like, if they eat something bad or whatever, they tell me they feel like drowsy and they don't feel. For me, I feel a little bit different. After my lunch, I'm ready to go for the next 3 hours. And that's the other, I guess the irony in it is I'm a meat cutter butcher, but I don't eat meat. I'm over here singing about Ital and all this stuff, and I'm getting my money by cutting meat for people. And that's why I say I joke around and I tell people like, hey, I don't want you guys to be like me. And they say, well, why don't you want us to be like you? I don't, because I won't have a job.
Part of what you practice that's stemming from the love of reggae and the music you create is this notion that you gotta respect others. Like you want to be respected. Like and at the same time, like you mentioned earlier, you don't want to push anything on other people because you have your own lifestyle.
Right.
You don't feel the need to tell other people, hey, what you're doing is wrong. I mean, at least unless it's flat out wrong. Like super obvious.
Like, don't commit suicide with those knives,
Yeah, exactly.
No, don't play Russian roulette with that automatic, stuff like that. Normal stuff like that, that you see every day. Yeah. But one thing is too, like you were talking about earlier, about how people get tired. Yeah. And so I think it's not just what you eat, it's also what you consume. Like you said, social media, where I feel like the culture is kind of pushed on people to consume bad things. There's greedy things, there's lust and stuff like that. And I feel like for us to be better men and even better women, we have to consume the right things. What we consume with our mind, that could drain your energy too. And so I'm trying to be aware of that too, aware of what am I consuming, what am I occupying my mind with, and if you occupy your mind with good things, like I try to do a good meditation or a prayer, those are good things to me. I'll spend, like, if I'm going to watch TV now, I don't really watch TV. I'll just watch wrestling with my dad. And to me, it'll be like, well, how's that a good thing? But it's like I'm bonding with my dad, Yeah. It's not like we don't take it like super serious, It's not like, and it's everything is, I'm trying to consume less bad things, I guess, and bad influence, and just try to live my own positive life. And I feel much happier, much freer. Like I feel more relaxed now without all that stuff, without the social media stuff for me.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like you've kind of always been like that too, because I mean, we met in high school, which is, way before Facebook really took off or any of these social media. So, we would always go and hang out, at the now defunct Borders, for example. Like it seems like every bookstore we've been to has closed or shut down. But
but those were some good times though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we used to do just a lot of stuff like that. We just go out and just hang out and stuff, like a lot of kids did those days, because there was really no social media to consume at that time, and
we were not social media zombies back then.
Exactly. Yeah. And that kind of just started pretty recent. I think I just got an alert from Twitter saying like, oh, happy 13th anniversary. I'm like, whoa, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's crazy how time ago.
Yeah, but I remember like I didn't even really pick up Twitter until like maybe 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I remember, and this kind of comes a little bit in a full circle, because people
song.
Yeah, because people listen to music, and then there might be a song they resonate with,
right?
And then all of a sudden, like there's a community grows around this particular. It could be a song, it could be a TV show, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Like some TV shows, they have a fan base. So it's just a community of people that like the same thing. And so I feel like with with sports in particular, you can meet somebody from a different walk of life completely.
Exactly.
In lifestyle, and then you share this common thing, and then you kind of understand each other, and it helps like build that community and it,
like a bond right there. Mm-hmm.
Kinda, yeah, exactly. Because I remember the time that we were, I think it might have been actually the first time that we decided to hop on a Greyhound bus and come out here to Los Angeles and walk around the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh yeah, go to Amoeba and look at the vinyls.
Yeah, exactly. And oh no, the microphone fell.
We were experiencing technical difficulties.
We decided to hop on the Greyhound bus, come out here to LA, walk around the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and when we were done, we hopped back on the Greyhound bus to head back home. At that time, it's Santa Barbara, and we saw like this guy that looked like he could just stab you just out of nowhere.
He had stabby eyes.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like 3 teardrop tattoos too?
Something like that. Yeah. Like we thought we were gonna get murdered that day.
He like approached us kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But then all of a sudden, we noticed that he had like I think it was a Green Bay Packers t-shirt. Yeah. And you and I both like are like Green Bay.
Yeah.
And so as he's coming, I think he just needed to use the bathroom. But as he's coming towards us, like in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh shoot, like we're about to get shot right here. and then we saw him with the Green Bay Packers shirt, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, we start talking Green Bay Packers, and then he's like, oh, you guys are cool. So
maybe that saved us right there, huh?
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
But that guy was cool with us though.
Yeah. So I remember like stuff like that, kind of just.
And I've seen stuff like I went to a SoCal Backers thing over here in LA. It's like they host like pretty much like a big barbecue for all the Packer fans that are here in Southern California.
Yeah,
and so we all came down different people from California, like I even saw people with Orange County Packers flag and all these people I don't even know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not used to being around other people that also like the Packers, except for like, my coworker, Freddie.
Yeah.
Me and him are Packer fans. You and me are Packer fans too. And it was cool to see that, and I saw what you're saying right there, like different walks of people connecting. And I'm sure other teams have the same thing, Like I seen like an old lady talking to like another gangster looking guy, people that I wouldn't expect to have like this peaceful conversation talking, or like, that you wouldn't really expect, like, oh, these people are going to talk for a long time. And they're right there talking like nothing, like different races, different people connected through sports, how you said.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with music, because for the longest time that I've known you, you've always liked reggae. But like you said, you started just recently producing, music. I mean, it's been a few years. I just say recent, but
yeah.
I feel like if you hadn't started producing the music you do, you probably hadn't met these other folks that now you collaborate with too.
Yeah.
Which at the same time, and I know we were talking about this earlier about how for your cover art, for your album,
right,
you found these folks that help you out with that. So I actually want to hear this story again, because this is really fascinating that you were able to find these folks to collaborate with you on your cover art for the album, that you would have probably in any other scenario probably never even talked to or met.
Exactly. So yeah, I had a contest for the album art cover. I put it out there on this website, and different artists submit, from wherever part of the world. They submit. I put the idea out. You've seen the cover, right? You've seen the cover has like a pyramid, Aztec style pyramid.
Yeah.
And then it has like a spaceship. And if you see the complete picture, the artist did a great job, really great job that was my favorite one. That's why I picked it as the winner. The complete cover art is 2 pyramids, actually. It's the one in the front and then the back track listing for like a CD or something,
Yeah.
But the one that most people will see is just that front cover. So it's actually a big, large image connected. And when I saw it, I was like, this is the one. I knew right away, I was like, this is not going to be topped, I don't think, And some artists, I got sent a lot of other good ones too, with the spaceship and the things that I asked for. Some people didn't send me the things that I asked for. Like somebody sent me a flying dolphin. I don't know where they got that from. I did not put that in the description of what I wanted.
Yeah.
But I got to pick, and so I ended up picking a couple of winners, like first, second, third place, because I wanted, I kept some of the other ones, like the second one, third place. I just wanted to keep them just because I felt like they did the work, and I wanted the artists to, to big them up too.
Yeah.
Because they did work on it, and they did a good job. But I can't have 3 different cover arts.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to pick that one, And then the artists that helped me, they even set up like the letters that I have for Greenites, you know?
Yeah.
They have a setup now. So now I have kind of like a template for if I'm going to use it in the future. I did that. And then I put out a lyric video for the song Barrier, which I feel like my brother did a great job on the vocals there. Riffs the Cat. He did a great job. And it's a song that we used to play back when I had the band Rootwise with my dad and my friend Leland. He's our bass player. And he has his own stuff out there, by the way, too, the Initialize. So check him out. But we did all that, you know.
Yeah.
We got that. We recorded the song, and then we did a lyric video. The artist is from Pakistan, and she did the lyric. I don't know how to, you know, make those kind of like video. That's not really my thing, you know. Music is more my thing. But she did everything that I wanted, and it came out really good, man. And she did a really good job, and so I'm really happy that I actually have like a lyric video out there. Like, it has like a cool visual. Like she did I gave kind of like a basic outline for that. For the cover art, I had like a design out. Like I kind of knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
But for the video, I didn't. Like for the video, I was like, I told her specific things from the song that I wanted to appear on the video.
Yeah.
But I let her interpretation of it. Like she could interpret it however she saw it too. And she did, and she interpreted really well. Like there's a solo in the song, and she put these cool visuals. It's like a really cool visual that she did. So I'm really happy about that.
Very nice. And you can find this video on your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what's the YouTube channel handle or the name?
The YouTube channel is Greenites52. It's Greenites 52.
Where does the 52 come from?
Well, the 52 is I guess it's one of my favorite football numbers, you know. I was a huge Clay Matthews fan, Packer player, you know. But not just Packer players. I'm also a fan of Patrick Willis, number 52, 49er player, you know, rival team. But I really respect that player. Yeah. And Ray Lewis, number 52. Like these football players that played real tough, aggressive, you know.
Yeah.
Rushed the passer or played middle linebacker, different positions. But they had that like ability, like that power. And they played the game with like, they had respect for the game the way they played it, you know? And like right now we have number 52, Rashawn Gary on the Packers, and he's one of my most favorite players to watch. That's just my favorite thing about watching sport. Yeah. A lot of people are attracted to football because of the ball in the air. The guy catching the touchdowns, you know, people want to see 30 to 40 or, you know, like 45 to 50 or like really high scoring. The thing that attracted me was seeing that guy that rushes, you know. And
then green, I want to say for the Green Bay Packers.
Actually, the green is not, green has always just been my favorite color. Okay. So I just wanted to connect green and ites, you know, the highest ites. Yeah. And I just thought that was a cool name to connect as my artist name, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so that's the name of your YouTube channel, and people can go check out the video. I saw it, and I was kind of jamming to it too.
You were jamming?
Yeah, because it's pretty catchy. And I listened to most of the songs in the album. I still haven't gone through because there's at least 6 songs. I think there's 9 maybe. I forget.
There's nine with 2 instrumentals.
So let's talk a little bit about just your post production process, and also how you get those sounds into whatever you're doing. Like, are you editing on a special software? You know, what's it called? Talk to me about that process after you come out with a song. You know, you're the lyrics on paper and everything. So how do you put all that together?
So there's different processes you could take. You know, some of the songs that I did on this project, they used to be played when I was in a band. You know, I played them with the band. So over the years, they evolved into what it is now on the recording. That was one way. And sometimes I'll come up with like a beat, then I'll come up with another beat, and maybe even a third beat, and I'll connect all of that into one song. Because I've heard a lot of songs that are kind of like, you hear the beat and you kind of feel like, well, I've heard that kind of, you know, already. But maybe the artist has like a really special voice. And for me, like, I don't have all the access to all this stuff, you know. My main thing is not really having like a pretty voice or like, oh, I'm going to showcase that I'm this like opera singer. It's more like to put a good message. And I see the vocals as kind of an instrument too. Like the bass is important, you know, the bass and the drum, the piano, the organ, the guitars, all that together in different parts. So you come up with these different ideas. And once you have like, oh, this could be a song, I could connect this part to this part. And it could be a song you put, you know, like you could put lyrics to it if you don't, or you could do the other way where you put lyrics first and you come up with a beat for that. So once you do all that, you record it, you know, you get on there and you go through different sounds. Like I record, you know, on computer on Pro Tools. So I got Pro Tools, man. But record on Pro Tools. And
oh yeah, I got iMovie.
You got iMovie, man. Yeah, so I go through different sounds and I pick ones that I like. Ones and some are kind of a tribute to the heroes, the old reggae heroes, you know. Yeah. And I try to do that too. As it's like to pay respect to them, you know, to big them up and not really, like I said, not big up yourself too much, not be braggadocious. It's just a fun hobby, really.
Where we come from, yeah, there we are, in reality so far. Where we come from, yeah, there we are, in reality so far. Where we come from, yeah, there we are, in reality so far. Where we come from, yeah, there we are, in reality so far. That's where I'm from. Where I are from I to I, potential amplified. The multiverse, where I immerse. I say no curse, I jam this verse, but clock I made it worse. We all exist, but on which axis? I practice with the cactus, parataxis with Galactus. The ganja sticks, while the canvas also speaks. But I play for keeps, and I do the leaps, and laugh at her obliques. Penguin in the scroll to twirl. 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 Where we come from, yeah, there we are, in reality so far. Where we come from, yeah, there we are.
You connect your instruments to the computer, right? If you do, like, what kind of setup do you have?
So for me, like, I have done that before. Like when I had the band, I recorded like some like little demo or whatever.
Yeah.
Where I had my friend do that, and he connected like the drums to his computer, and you know the bass and the guitars, like actually like that, you know.
Yeah.
So with this project, I'm not doing it with a band. You know, I don't have a band playing the songs for me, like orchestrating, like, hey, I wanted this, you know. I'm just doing it myself. So the way I'm doing it, you know, to be honest, I'm doing it virtual instruments, you know. I'm doing a computer. It's all computer stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm connecting guitars and organs and stuff. Like I'm playing it on the piano, but I'm making it sound like it's a guitar. I'm making, you know, and I'd rather be honest about that, you know. I'd rather say it like that than say like, oh yeah, I'm this really great guitarist or whatever. No, like I'm playing it on the piano. You know, I'm coming up with these things on a piano and changing it to like a bass sound, changing it to a guitar sound. That's the way I'm doing it, you know.
How long does it take you to come out, let's just say with one song, from start to finish, from the conception of the product to like the end product? How long does it take you to do all that?
Well, see, that really depends on, you know, like if you have a flow and you're like, oh man, I got this idea, you know, you could finish a song real quick. But for some things, it takes a longer, like, oh man, this lyric doesn't fit with the beat right here, or like, let me try something different. It could take a while. Like one song, like I could finish a song for a part and then leave that one for years, not touch it for like a year, and then something comes back to you once you work on something else. You're like, now that I learned this other thing, I could finish that song. So that song could take like, you know, a year and a half to finish, when another song could be like done in a month, you know, or quick. Like for Toxic Social Media, it was like a real personal song, more, you know, like a song about like my own experience. So what I did was I came up with a beat and I wrote lyrics that fit the beat. You know, it kind of went with the beat, along with the beat. And when I figured that out, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I learned as I go along too. And one thing that I realized is if I just kind of rehearse it on my own. And the way I did that was every day driving to work, I would rehearse the lyrics in my car. I would just drive and sing whatever. And sometimes I would just mumble, blah, 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 like that, you know, little mumbles. Yeah. And then figure out, okay, what am I going to put in that little mumble that I just made? What words are going to fit there? Yeah. And so I did that for a whole month. I just memorized the lyrics while I drove until the lyrics were in my head. Everything was in my head, memorized. Now, when the day came to record the vocals, I didn't have to look at my phone. I didn't have to have a piece of paper to remind me what the lyrics were. I already knew what they were. I knew what the next part was. I didn't have to memorize anything. It was already in my, you know, it was already in my brain. Mm-hmm. I could just say it out, and there was like no hesitation. And I noticed if I don't do that, sometimes it comes out like I'm reading, and you're not really focused on the performance of the song. You're just focused like, wait, what did I say in that part? You know? Yeah. And I felt like, oh, I learned through experience. I learned this is a better way, and going forward, I want to do more of that too, like where I kind of memorize it more if I'm going to do vocals myself, you know?
So how do you stay organized or remember, hey, I worked in this song previously or from a year ago. Now I have some new lyrics for it.
I don't know. Some things just get like if you're working on a certain song, it's hard to explain, I guess, in words where you just remember, like you remember a certain part and you're like, I could go back to that. Or like, oh, you learn from the other song that you're doing and now that one could be better. So that's one thing that could get bunched up, you know, or you could just focus on one song, get that done, then move on to the next one. You know, it's it could go, the process could be different.
Yeah. And do you use any apps at all to kind of mark things on a calendar and say, no, like I want to work on this day at this time kind of thing?
When I go with the flow, is it like if I'm just on the piano, then I could go with the whatever flow, whatever. I could play this. I try this. Cause I'm not really recording anything. I'm just, and then if I'm doing like a test beat, a rhythm, then I could go with the flow too. I could play different melodies or different lines and see what I like there. Kind of go with the flow. But some things I do feel have to be planned. Like if you're gonna rehearse with a group, and you can rehearse the different parts. Like let's play this part of the song and practice that. Now let's practice this part of the song and let's piece it together. And you could do that too with, you know, your organization. You could do that with your recording. Like today I'm just going to, even though it's how you said, go with the flow, that could be planned out too. You could set a day for it's like a brainstorming day, writing day. Now it's let's work on the actual instrument days. Now let's work on the production of the vocals, the edit. And then that's just one part of it. Then when you feel like you have it done, then you could, you have the options to mix it yourself or to send it to an engineer. I like to send it to an engineer, and have them master it for me.
See, I thought you kind of just mixed everything yourself, but
I do some of the mixing.
Yeah, but if you send it out to an engineer, is that somebody based locally, somebody you can see in person, or is it somebody that you just kind of outsource it to that might be in a different state or city, and then they just kind of send it back?
Yeah, so that's what I do. I send it to the engineers. I think they're located in Amsterdam or like city near Amsterdam.
Wow,
that's where I've sent it. But I've seen now. I've kind of researched more, and I've seen other engineers that are, it's not really where they're at for me, but it's just like some that have like different experience way more than I do,
Yeah.
And so I'm considering sending songs to those other areas too, just to get it mastered and stuff and mixed. And I do some of that too, the mixing. But my main thing is, like I said, is creating like some music and playing, as a hobby. Some of the mixing stuff is cool. Like you could do it yourself too, like you could add the flavor that you want to it too. Like if you want the drums to sound a certain way, you don't want them to sound so polished. You want it to sound kind of like 70s Jamaica reggae, that kind of like dub-wise reggae.
Yeah.
Then you could kind of work on that yourself too. You might not need an engineer to get that style,
Do you have to send like instructions to these engineers? Or do you find like one that you want to work with and kind of stick with that person?
Well, right now I'm like in the process where I kind of want to experiment with different ones. I've even thought about like send a song to different engineers, like the same one, and see how they work different, and see, okay, I need to work on this better, improve. Everything is always in, like a process of improving too.
That's cool that you're kind of able to work with these engineers and try different things and stuff so that you get different results, I suppose, with the final project. Instagram helps you, showcase your art a little bit more. So
I agree to an extent, but for me personally, I would say no. Like it's just not for me. It's just not. I don't feel like that's the place for me to be. It's not like that's why I call it, like I said, toxic social media. It's not a place where I could feel like I'm sharing a positive thing, really, for me. But if you use it that way, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool that you use it that way. But for me, it's like I'm logging out of the matrix or something. I'm freeing my mind, I guess, from that stuff.
Well, and that was one of the things why I wanted to, every now and then I get like an itch to go camping. So I really wanted to go out, do something outdoors. And so I went to Lake Achuma recently outside of Aurora County to just get out. And even though,
have like a peaceful time.
Exactly. Yeah. But even though like Lake Achuma, that's a recreational area, it's meant for tourism. They have really good cell phone service. So it's not like you can just lose yourself. So you kind of have to have willpower to maybe just unplug completely, like either turn off your phone or just put it on like turn on your do not disturb features so that you don't get calls or text messages and stuff like that if you really want to unplug. I got to Lake Achuma, and then it was nice to I did turn off all my push alerts and all that stuff, notifications, all that, and it felt really good.
You were just like in a tranquil place.
Exactly.
You just like you were telling me yesterday, like you said that you were like you weren't doing much talking. You were looking at the lake. You were taking it in. You were soaking it in, and you were probably in a peaceful state of mind. That was like a positive little moment right there. Just being right there in the lake, with your wife, enjoying the time right there. You said like, I'm not doing a lot of talking. I'm observing. It's kind of like how you described your video. You said you showed your video because I told you, I suggested to you, hey, you should probably talk. You should say this in the video, And you said you wanted it to be more like an experience thing. Like you just want the viewer to see what you saw that time.
Yeah.
And you could use that format for like a future videos,
That's what I love about creating content and art. Like what you said earlier about your music, that you get a chance to experiment,
exactly.
and you don't feel the pressure to finish a song right away.
So is that what you're kind of doing? You're experimenting with things and seeing what you like. You said you're doing product reviews, you're doing vlogs, you're doing this. Hopefully you add a little skit comedy too here and there. Something. I'm just suggesting, but all the different things that you're doing. You're kind of experimenting with your own art too.
When you add a visual element to the things that you're doing, all of a sudden it's double the work. Now you have to worry about the audio, you have to worry about the visuals. And so I'm trying to cut down on the steps, because one of the things I've found out, at least for me, is that if something requires too much of a setup, then I'm inclined to not want to do it. So that's why,
because you're not really focused on the project at hand or the thing you want to do. You're more focused on the setup of the thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not creating like this big old fancy movie and stuff, which we have done in the past, back when DVDs were still a thing. And I still have those hard drives somewhere.
Oh, those are embarrassing.
Yeah, I should probably upload that to social media.
Oh,
really make it toxic.
Oh, it just blows. Everything shuts down.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, do you feel like your music mutates or adapts to whatever is influencing you at the time, so that the music that you're producing, let's just say 2 years ago, is different than what you're producing now? There's
some of that, there is some of that, like where things change, like something like your current situation, like the toxic social media song. I didn't even plan really. That was like the newest song I did, and it ended up being like of the little songs that I have right there that got something. That one got more, like, so it's not. It got a little bit more of attraction. Yeah, it got a little bit more of attraction, and I put it like in this radio station like some fan from Turkey put right there, like, oh, I'm your fan and I like your songs, and that's pretty cool,
Nice.
And so it can change though, like, 2 years from now I might make like a rhythm that's really weird, that's not really, doesn't really sound like what I'm doing right now, You could experiment with different sounds, try different things, and I'm just doing what I like to do, I don't really try to do something that's like, oh, I hope that this one goes viral. I hope a record label picks me. I hope that all these, and it's not, because the whole purpose of it is just to thank God, and give the glory to God, not to try to get clout, and that's where you let the creativity flow. You let the creativity come out of you. If you feel you're blessed, then, you're blessed by God. Now you can go and do this, try this different thing. I really like Lee Scratch Perry, and he did some really weird songs, sometimes put like a little joke in one of the songs or something. That was his personality. Everybody got their own personality. So I'm feeling more free to be myself. Now I could just, you be yourself, you don't need to, oh man, I hope this, hope everybody likes it. That, it's not good to live with that kind of stress, Yeah, because like, let's say you put a podcast, oh man, it only got 10 views, oh, it only got this. But what if your content is really good? It just hasn't even been discovered yet,
Yeah.
Down the line, you could get 20,000 views.
Yeah.
But what you're doing with all your, the different aspects of your YouTube channel or your media, the stuff that you produce, you have the potential where it could grow, but you're not necessarily doing it for that. You're just doing it because it's the thing that you like to do. It's your hobby. It's your passion to do these things. So you're actually you're working on those things, but you're enjoying what you're doing too.
Yeah, and it seems like that's exactly also what you're doing with all your projects.
I took those film classes in SBCC because of you.
Hey, wait a minute.
You're the one that convinced me to take all that. I wasn't gonna take that.
Wait.
She.
For your didn't you do like for your final project? Didn't you do a movie about me making a movie?
Yeah,
or
because
something?
you told me, sign up for the documentary class, man. Sign up. I'm like, I don't want to sign. I told him I want to make fake movies, bro. I want to make comedy. I want to make like a little skit. Like I'd rather do something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, take it. It'll be fun. It'll be easy. And I was like, oh man. And then the class was cool. We were just watching movies. But then it comes time where you have to make a movie. And I was like, damn, all my ideas were skits, and it can be a skit. It has to be a documentary.
Yeah.
And so you were doing your documentary on the Chumash. And And so I decided I told the teacher, what if I do a documentary about my friend making his documentary? And so I actually filmed a documentary in the documentary class about you presenting your documentary to the documentary teacher.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was I think I had to go first and you had to go a different day.
Yeah.
Because of the like it was kind of impossible. Like I think the teacher at the time, of the professor said like, okay, but I want you to show him presenting his stuff to the class.
It was kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like when you see Infinity and you're like,
you're
recording what you're gonna see, and we actually watched ourselves inside that classroom. So.
Yeah.
It's like the wrestler. Orange Cassidy, the guy that like right now he wears the shirt of himself wearing a shirt of himself. You know.
Yeah, but like even the documentary, we try to make it fun. Like the Shumash thing, that was kind of like a serious topic,
right?
Know?
You presented your thing
exactly, but then the documentary, I mean, it was almost like a mockumentary. But the documentary,
we added like things that were not true.
yeah, exactly,
just for comedic effect.
Exactly,
but it's just a class, so it didn't matter.
I know. I mean, we still use the same techniques.
Supposedly looking out at the mountains, and you were doing like the square thing, like oh, I gotta get this perfect shot. And the camera you had was like off, but we just filmed you doing that so it could look like you were working.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Like working, like I'm setting up this shot right here.
Yeah,
and you're like you were just doing these like squares and stuff.
Yeah. The editing came down to the wire in my documentary. I forgot. I think it was
that actually made the story a little bit cool.
Yeah, I know.
Well, for you were like, oh.
Yeah, because I was like running so behind, and I think I even was late to class. I think class had started, and like maybe 30 minutes later, I finally made it in with the final product, and I forgot what it was.
We added it. We made it seem like, is he gonna finish this project in time? And then you edited it. You did all the editing for mine too. and you let me put like all these like cool reggae songs in there.
Oh
and we made it look like the Warriors. Like you remember you added those effects? Remember?
Exactly. Because we got to remind folks that this was a documentary making class. It wasn't an editing class.
That's right, folks. It was a documentary class, not an editing class. Now we know documentaries, not editing.
Yeah. But I mean,
I don't know anything about the editing of films and all that back then. It was fun embarrassing ourselves in front of that whole class because everybody was laughing when they saw the final thing. They were laughing, bro. And that was cool. That was a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, is there something that you wanted to try that you haven't tried yet in your music producing or any other projects?
I had a friend who told me like, hey, you live a kind of an interesting life, you know.
Yeah.
You should blog about your your workouts or your music or whatever you're doing, your hike.
Yeah.
All this stuff. But for me, it's like I just kind of want to experience it there.
Yeah.
I'm cool if I appear on your thing or whatever, that you're even having me on this. I'm really thankful for that, I'm really happy about that I'm on this. Like, I really like this show, man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, the potential is, you have the potential, bro, for, it's already there. It's showing, it's, it's coming out. And for me, recording music, I do want to try other instruments, try other weird sounds, I don't know what the next project's going to come out, like what it's going to sound like, what it's going to be, the vocals, and I'm open to working with other vocals, like with other vocalists. That's from, I'm really down for that. If people are, they want to sing, female vocalists, male vocalists, or even like an alien from outer space vocalist, if they came down on a spaceship and they knew how to jam, jam with them too, And that's what I mean. Like, we record, with the people that I've done in the past. Who knows if I might do a song with them. Yeah. My friend Micah Blue. I've talked with my brother about doing a project, Riffs the Cat, his thing. Like a song, maybe like a song that will be his way, written his way. Produced how he wants, and I can help him with that.
Yeah.
Or with Isaac Thule Ranks. With his voice. I'd be down to record with him. With other singers I've done in the past too. I recorded too with a singer from LA over here named Sarah Shine. And she's cool too, with Marissa Jade, a different singer. So I've done, with both kind of vocalists, different kind of vocalists, singer style of vocalists, male or female, or like DJ ragamuffin style reggae rapping kind of vocalists too, you know. So I've tried different things, you know. And my main thing for me, like I never really, when I was starting to do this, I never really intended to sing or be on a mic and all this stuff. But when I noticed that those were like the songs that people listen to a little bit more, it kind of makes me think like, oh, maybe I could do like a little EP or album where I'm kind of just doing ragamuffin style, reggae rap style, you know, to do that and give tribute to those old school guys like Yellow Man, you know, Ranking Toy and those kind of DJs. Cuddy Ranks, those old, I think Cuddy Ranks was a Meat Cutter too. Meat Cutter. So, you know, his name's Cuddy Ranks, and I'm like those kind of old school reggae guys from the past, you know. Like recently, Tabby Diamond, he's a singer for the Mighty Diamonds. He recently got murdered in Jamaica. He got shot. A few days later, another one of the Mighty Diamonds. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but I know he's in the Mighty Diamonds. And he died too. He died of like in the hospital diabetes. So now there's only one left, you know, from that group. And it's just like a shame because his songs were really good, really nice voice, man. You know, I don't know if you've heard of songs like Pass the Coochie on the left hand side, you know, those kind of songs. 4,000 years, 4,000 down in a Babylon. You know, he has really good, like, you know, he's a hero. I think my dad even got to meet him once.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a shame that somebody like that gets murdered for something probably, you know, something not even related to him because there's like a crime right there or whatever. Somebody else caused something and they just shoot this like peaceful Rasta man, you know? You know, and it's stuff like that happens. It sucks when you lose a hero. I know, you know, somebody like him probably doesn't get that much attention over here. United States. Or around the world, like when I hear about other artists that died or whatever, you know, but this guy, you know, he's known throughout the world, you know, like if, you know, people in Spain know who he is, you know, people who really like reggae, they know who this guy is, you know, and this isn't the first time that something like that has happened. So I always try to make sure that I respect them, that I show respect to the elders of, you know, the Rasta elders. That's like a really important thing for me. And another thing is one of the reasons why I play reggae, you know, there was a part in my life where I thought I was going to stop, where I was going to not do this anymore. And I got a chance to speak with Apple Gabriel, and he's a member of Israel Vibration. So I talked with him, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to this guy, you know, Apple Gabriel. And he had that cool Jamaican accent, that froggy voice, you know. And I talked to him, and I told him, hey, is it okay? You know, kind of nervous. Like, is it okay that I play this music? Like, this music is from their culture, really. They're the founding fathers of it. I told him, like, I really love your music, and this is what I want to do. Like, I want to play reggae music, and I know this is like from your culture, you know. Like, I don't want to be a culture vulture either, you know. So like, out of respect, I kind of went to the source, talked to those old Rasta man, and he told me something really cool. He's like, the Rastafari is not supposed to be about racism. It doesn't matter that you're a Mexican guy. He told me, do it if that's what you like, do it. And when I got the blessing from him, it was like, wow, that guy. Some guy that's my hero, he's giving me the blessing. And I've been fortunate to meet some of these guys like Don Carlos, Harrison Stafford, Groundation, Marcus Urani, different artists that I've come across, the Mystic Roots, Marco, DJ Marco. He put me on his little Wild West reggae radio station, you know. Different, I've come across little, you know, people like that over the years of going to concerts and stuff, you know. I don't have like these connections with them, but it's cool that they've talked to me like that when I've approached them, you know. The Twinkle Brothers, I got to speak with Norman Grant of the Twinkle Brothers too. Just by going to shows, I got to meet some of these guys that were like my old time heroes, you know. And I've seen them walk by, and like some people don't even know who they are sometimes. But to me, that's like a person that I hold as a hero, and it feels good that I got to do that, you know. To kind of in a way get his blessing to be able to do this, you know, and to feel good about it. There's meaning behind their words, you know. They mean it. They're not just saying it to, oh, you're good, man. Like, no, like if they're actually giving you something and they're giving you like a little advice or something, sometimes that's like a little treasure right there. A little nugget of wisdom right there.
All right, well, before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to, you know, mention about any future collaborations you're doing, any other projects you're working on, or just anything in general, any positive message?
Well, I just want to say I want to give thanks and praise to Jah and to God, you know, and I'm grateful for the Rastafari message. I definitely want to say thanks to that, and I want to give thanks to my family, you know, my mom, my dad, and my brother, and then give thanks to you and Claire, and just thanks for this opportunity to be a part of your show. And I look forward to making more music.
I want to thank Greenites for coming on today's episode and sharing his process for creating art and the journey his love for music has taken him and will continue to take him. Don't forget to connect with Julio Greenites on social media. The link to his YouTube channel is in the description of this episode. I've also included a link to my YouTube channel for additional content in the description. If you have any comments or questions regarding this episode or the podcast in general, send them to hangrymexicanpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to feature some of your comments on a later episode. And please rate the Hangry Mexican Podcast on Apple Podcasts and all other major platforms we are streaming on. The more you rate, the more ears this podcast will reach. As always, I really appreciate your support. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay safe, good night, good luck.